It's time to get some work done on one of the projects on the board behind me. I've been trying to decide if I want to work on the mobhead farm or the iron farm, and I think I've decided that I want to work on the mobhead farm in this episode. Now, both of these actually require villagers. The mobhead farm needs villagers because we're going to sort mobs, and you can use villagers to pull the zombies away. And then the iron farm needs villagers for fairly obvious reasons in order to actually make the iron itself. So we need some villagers. We've got 2 villagers that are sitting on top of the nether roof. However, I've been saving those villagers so that we can actually set up a breeder. So I think it's time to actually set up that breeder, and then we can pull the villagers from that in order to use those for our farm. So I need somewhere to put this breeder. I was thinking of putting it here where I just set up my dark oak tree farm. I don't think the villagers would cause a significant amount of lag here, but I've got an aesthetic that I'm thinking of. I still haven't figured out all the details just yet, and I don't think the breeder is going to fit that aesthetic. So I don't think I want to put it here, and I do think it is going to be enough lag that I don't want to put it in my base. So let's see if there's somewhere else we can find for it. So I want to pick somewhere that's connected to this central nether hub here, because that's going to make it easier for them to come back and forth. And I need somewhere where there's not going to be any other nether portals nearby, because I want a nether portal down on the surface to link to the top of the nether here. So I want somewhere in maybe this area, but this is actually a smaller area than you think. You can actually fly. That's where the sheep farm that we were just at is, and you can fly from there to my base in a very short amount of time. So maybe I'll come over to this area here and check and see if there's anything reasonable over here, possibly over here. We could scan this area. Definitely want to stay away from this area. This is where I have an active wither. Carm's actually put a sign that said, "Don't go there." That's my wither rose farm. So somewhere in this area, let's scan around and see if we could find a good plot for it. Oh yeah, this is actually perfect. Look at this. We got a nice flat area. We can actually see my base from back here. I've got Optifine on though, so I've actually got a view distance of 64. I think it like remembers chunks so that it can load further than the server view distance. So this area shouldn't actually be loaded when I'm at my base, but like we can see both ways. We'd have to have this area already loaded in order to be able to see it from my actual base, but it's going to look good anyways. It's actually a really attractive breeder. So let's actually move it a little bit back further into this area right here. And I think this would be a good place to make sure that we're outside of the view distance, that this isn't loaded when I'm in my base. Somewhere back here, I think. All right, let's build up a breeder. All right, so there we go. We've got a breeder all set up. This is a design by Roamer GFX. I actually built this exact same design on my Patreon server, except we built it out of sandstone there because we didn't have as much quartz. But now we get to see it in all its beautiful glory. There's nothing too mechanically special about this breeder. You just have villagers in here. They grow, they do their own crops, they feed each other, and the babies will try to jump on the beds. The adults actually can't get through, and the babies will actually fall down. They can't get through either, but they think they can. And so then there's a cell downstairs that actually sorts them into adults and babies. Nothing too special about the breeder itself, except the fact that it's just really attractive and elegant. And so I've really liked this ever since somebody posted in my Discord. I used it on my Patreon server, and I want to use it here. We don't need a specifically very fast breeder. What we're looking to do is we're looking to send just a couple of villagers at a time up to the nether roof. And then if we need more villagers, like at the iron farm, we'll set up a localized breeder right there, breed them up there, and then get rid of that breeder when we're done. So we just need a couple villagers at a time, and this is going to do the trick quite well. So I've set up this little area down here. We can come down through here. This is where the actual nether portal is going to be. So what we do is the babies will be here. When they grow up, they'll come through and they'll end up right here, and they actually can't get out. and we can just send a minecart right through here. So I actually set up this part right here where we press a button, minecart comes through, picks up a villager, goes around here, activator rail pushes the villager right into the portal, cactus over here, hoppers will actually send the minecart right up back into here. So we'll never run out of minecarts. And it's just a really fast, so we just come here, send a couple of villagers over to the nether, go back through the portal, and we've got our villagers. So I haven't lit this portal yet on purpose because we actually need to send the villagers up over here. So I'm going to set up a portal somewhere around here, just break a hole in the wall, put a portal right there, send the villagers through, and then once we've got the villagers, they should start farming immediately and walk away from the portal, and I should be able to put the glass back, get rid of the portal, and we should be good to go. All right, I've set up the portal. I've checked and make sure it's syncing properly. I brought the first villager over. Go ahead and knock out his boat, and we should go over to the other side and check, make sure that he made it across. And he should pick up a profession pretty much right away. Yep, he's got a profession. He's spinning about. Let's go grab the other villager. All right, the villagers are in, and they seem nice and happy. They do want to get into this bed. Which reminds me, I actually need to block off these beds. We've only got 2 villagers in here. This cell is built for 3 villagers or 4 villagers. So we need to wait until the first 2 babies grow up. So we don't want the babies to be able to get through there. They shouldn't be able to get through that right there. And we don't want this side either. Hi guys, you guys, no sleep for you. Well, oops, I actually forgot. They need to think that they can get to these beds. So I can't just block them off entirely. What I can do is I can actually allow them to get to the beds, and that shouldn't be fine. And then once I have 2 adults, I can just shut these trapdoors while it's the daytime. They won't be in this bed area. They'll be out at the farm, so this shouldn't be any problem. All right, so it definitely looks like the breeder is working. Let's make sure this mechanism here is working. We'll go ahead and push the button, send a guy on its way. Looks like that part worked. Let's go over into the nether. Should be at the very top of the nether. We'll put this guy in a boat and save him for later. Yep, that's exactly what we want. Just go ahead and hop in the boat. And let's start the next step. So the next step is to build the charged creeper farm, which is basically just a regular creeper farm, except we need a way to name tag the creepers and also store them. So when there's a lightning storm, we can use a trident to electrocute them all, and then we'll have a nice storage cell full of charged creepers. So I'm going to build that over an ocean so that we have more control over spawns that are underneath. I'm not too worried about drowns. This is a warm ocean biome that's kind of near our desert and mob farm. It's not too far from spawn, but it's far enough away that I don't care about making a somewhat ugly building out here. And also, this is the primary place where we've been digging out coral, so we're kind of making that part ugly too. So I'm not too worried about the way it looks. We're probably not going to put a building around this or anything like that. But it's close enough. I might actually have a use for charged creepers at some point in the future, so it'd be useful to actually be able to get here from time to time. Of course, a lightning storm would happen while I'm in the middle of building this. You couldn't have waited. You couldn't have waited? All right, so here's the core principle right here. We got a few dispensers here that'll spit out water on a timer, so they will flush the system over to here. We're going to have some trapdoors up at this level so that skeletons and zombies won't have enough room to spawn. These little pillars here are to prevent spiders from spawning, so only creepers can spawn in this area. And then we're actually going to have 4 platforms like this. I could just do 1, but I want to have at least some semi-decent rates. This isn't by any stretch of the imagination a super efficient farm or even a particularly good farm. That's not really what's relevant here. I don't want them to come in so fast that I don't have time to name tag them or anything like that. So I also don't want to spend a lot of time like working on a really big farm. I just want to set up the easiest possible farm that gets me some fairly decent rates. We're going to build up 4 platforms of this. We got a water channel down here. It's going to send them into a tube. Tube's going to send them up to my AFK spot, and from my AFK spot, I'm going to name tag them just before they drop down into a holding cell. So let's get that all set up. All right, so I've got this farm all set up. We can actually use FreeCam to go on inside and see what's going on inside. Looks like one of these sets of lights is not working right, and that's kind of weird. What did we do over here? Oh, we missed a redstone block. All right, so I'll have to fix that. But that's the farm. The farm's all set up. Then we've got a little area over here. This is where we're going to collect all our creepers. This is the same thing I set up for my breeding hall. And I actually thought, hey, that might actually be pretty useful. Because first of all, I wanted to make sure that I already had a way to get the creepers out of the system before I had a bunch of charged creepers sitting in a thing. I didn't want to have to like try and figure out how I'm going to get them out. So I use the same system. So basically you push the button here, it spits out the water for a second, moves them over to the corner, and it'll dispense a minecart and send them off on their way. But also I've set up this button right here that we can just turn the water on and off manually. And that way, when they drop, they can actually drop down into the water and then they don't take falling damage. And then when we actually have to charge them, we can't have the water there. So we get rid of the water real quick. We can throw a trident down in there and that should electrocute them all. And then we've got the AFK spot up here. So a couple of these blocks are over the actual area, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to electrocute them with this here. We might have to actually remove some of these blocks. We'll figure it out as we go. I didn't really think about that until afterwards, but the idea is they come up here, we stand here, we name tag them as they come by. They don't actually have enough time to blow up before they just fall straight down into the ground. We might, no, they can't actually jump up here, so we're good there too, because they're going to be like right there, just bouncing up and down in the water. They can't actually get up to us, so we should be good. I've already tested this part in creative, and I know it works, and I've got an unreasonable amount of name tags here. I've named one of them Big Boom. So now all we gotta do is come down here and turn the farm on. And turning it off turns off the timer and also turns on all those lights so that we don't get spawns. We're gonna have another farm in the area, so I don't want this area spawning mobs and disrupting the other farms. So we need to be able to turn it off. And if we come up here and then we're in the AFK spot, we should start to see them spawning down there. Make sure that everything's working properly. Should start seeing the water coming back and forth. Yep, we definitely got some spawns. There's the water, kind of dark in here. We should start seeing some creepers coming up this channel here, hopefully. There's one right there. There he goes. Name tagged and safe. And that's all we got to do. It's a little bit slower than I would have hoped for. Not sure what's going on there. We might have to check that out. That's probably part of it. I left a shulker box as part of the wall instead of pulling it up. And it looks like it's letting light through because you can actually see it's brighter up here than it is down in these areas. We should still, ooh, that's a lot of spawns right there. Make sure to name tag those guys as they come up. But yeah, we definitely need to go down and fix that once we get all these guys name tagged. Here they come. It's a little bit scary to have them running that close to me and they start like blinking off. But I haven't had one of them explode yet, and they're in water, so even if they did explode, they shouldn't damage anything but me. Alrighty then. Well, one of them actually blew up. Oops. I have hold use on because I was like kind of semi-AFK. Oh, hey. Guys. By the way, any of that go through that don't get name tagged, all that happens is that they will despawn. And that's fine. I didn't... one of them shouldn't have blown up. That's very strange. We might need... it also shouldn't have destroyed the actual glass. I tested this for a good long while. That should not have happened, and I seem to be out of signs to stop the water. Alright, so... Alright, I gotta go get some signs. We do have a decent number of them already. A few of those aren't name tagged, but that's a decent number. It seems to be working alright, but one of them did blow up, so maybe I need to use some obsidian here as well, and that'll stop it from damaging me and the walls and stuff like that. It can't hurt. So let me go get that stuff. All right, well, I would definitely consider that a success. I'm going to stop there for now. I actually had some of them die to entity cramming. There were a whole bunch of them bunched up in this corner. They seem to be separating now, but when I hit this button again, they're going to cram over to that corner again. So I think we've got somewhere in the 60 to 70 range. Entity is saying 72, so that's pretty decent. So that's a good start. That's definitely a decent amount of creepers. I am going to probably want more, but this is definitely a good start. So now that I've got all these, now it's time to work on to the next step. And then hopefully while I'm working into that, we'll actually have a thunderstorm happen. And then we can actually charge these up in the meanwhile. Oh, I guess any more are just going to fall and die. Okay, that doesn't seem to be a problem. All right, let's move on to the next step. Oh man, I just took a little break and I came back and I logged back in and I was staring directly at this. This is the first thing I saw when I logged back in. This is terrifying. Nobody should log in and see this. This is, all right. So anyways, the next step is to build the actual mob farm and we're going to sort out the mobs. So let me go get the materials and I'll build the little baseline of it. And then we are going to have to move some dogs and cats and villagers into it. So let's take care of that part. All right, let's see how this goes. I don't really have any way of raising him up. So let's see if we can lure him. Of course not. Of course he's going to run away immediately. I need something. I guess I can trap him in. Be the best way. Do something like this. There we go. And then now he doesn't have anywhere to go. Now get in this portal. He's got to jump up. There he goes. Okay. Go on over to the other side. Hopefully we don't have any trouble getting him into the spot. All right, we need him to get over here. Come on, bro. Let's go ahead and break this portal so we can't warp back through at any point. Got a wall on the other side. It's a little risky. Hopefully he can't jump off the edge here. Come on, bro. There we go. There we go. And yes, and yes. There we go. Now he's trapped. Okay. Cat and dog should be much easier than this. All right, so that went pretty uneventful, and we are all set and ready to build up the actual mob farm that's going to drop the mobs right onto this spot right here. So let's do that. So this didn't actually take very long at all. This was a super easy build. We only have one layer of a mob farm here. You can see it working right there. It's got water on it right now, and then I'll flush it away. Once again, we're not that interested in speed. We're mostly just interested in actually, like, we're just going to fill up the mob cap anyways. So speed doesn't really help us. So we just, I just wanted a simple, easy to build one. And this did not take very long at all. We should, now that we're down here, we are loading some caves down underneath me. Probably not that many of them. So we are slowing it down a little. I could AFK up there, but from down here, we can actually see it. And we should hopefully see some mobs come down onto this platform and then get sorted over to the various sides. Oh, and here we have some mobs coming through. We've got some skeletons and a couple creepers. And they should hopefully, it does take a second for them to register the mobs on the side. I don't know why that happens. It actually caused me quite a bit of trouble when I was testing this all out. But I discovered after a little while, they do tend to go over to that direction. Every once in a while, you will get some of them that'll actually go into the zombie side. I don't know why that happens. We could probably extend the row there so they don't have as far to go. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it that much. I'm actually just going to... Did we leave a piston in the way? We left a piston in the way. I'm going to have to go up and fix that. But I'm just going to do zombies first. I'm going to get zombie heads first. And then once we have enough zombie heads, we'll have a few extra creeper and skeleton heads as a result. So I won't, and then I'll use that to determine how many. My hope is to get a stack of each kind of head. I don't know if that's going to be practical. That's going to take an awful lot of charged creepers, and we still have not yet seen a thunderstorm. So I might just see what I can get from this stack of creepers and call it good. We'll find out what happens, but let me go fix that piston. There's no real reason to sit here and spawn more mobs because they're all going to despawn anyways. There's no name tags or anything like that. So we're not going to worry about that part of it that much. And let's just set up the next step, which is setting up a little mob fight club. Not really, though. What we're going to do is we're actually going to set up somewhere for these guys to go, and we'll press a button and pick one of the mobs, and then those are going to go to the same place. They'll meet up right next to each other in a pool of water. And then I can use a flint and steel on one of the charged creeper, then back up, they'll blow up, and we'll collect the items. So let's set that up. All right, so we're all set up here. So this giant monstrosity, it's mostly just a bunch of slime blocks in order to trigger off some dispensers over there. So there's no skeletons right now, but over here you can see there's some creepers, and there should be a zombie back there as well. So if I hit one of these note blocks, this one's for creepers, should send out a minecart, and the minecart got stuck because that rail isn't powered. All right, so that one's, this one should work, hopefully. We should get a zombie, I think. Nope. All right, everything's broken and I'm walking into cactuses. Hold on. Oops. Oh, hey, no, don't come down here. Oh, hey. I was just gonna say, I forgot something else. The slime blocks that I set up there, they're all spawnable. So I need to do something about that. Let's just fly away, let that guy despawn, and probably put some lights in the area. All right, I should have everything fixed now. We've got a couple more spawns up there, and everything should be working, and also mob-proofed up there. So we'll go ahead and hit the button. Should see a minecart, grab this guy. He drops down, goes into a water path right there, and he'll end up right here, just standing right there. I can do the same thing if I press a button. I don't think there's actually any minecarts, so if I press a button, they all get moved to the edge, and then it'll pop out a minecart, and it'll go over here. It'll get bounced into this water path and end up over there. So that, them meeting together, and then I would just use a flint and steel on the charged creeper, and that would blow up both of them, and then it would collect the item. And I had some issues when I was testing in creative. Even though they're in water, it shouldn't blow up the items around it, the blocks around it, but it was doing that, so I put obsidian. That doesn't protect these hoppers down here necessarily, but I was having good results when using the obsidian like this. But we still haven't seen a thunderstorm, so there's nothing we can do right now except kind of stand around and wait for a thunderstorm to happen. So I guess that's the final step. Oh man, I just heard a thunderstorm. I think we're good. I've been AFK for the better part of a day here. Come on up here. Yep, definitely still thundering. Go for it. Is this channeling? Do we have a roof over us? There it goes. Looks like one or two of them died. A lot of them died. Well, that's really disappointing. But we still got a decent amount. We can still work with this. I can't believe so many of them. I've been waiting the better part of a day for this. And we just lost well over half of them. Alright, well, let's go ahead and push the button. Let's keep our distance. I forgot to grab my blast protection armor. Actually, tense. That didn't help. Oh my god, that was close. We still have... I've just been AFK this whole time. We still have that zombie here. So let's click on him, back up. And we got a zombie head. All right. So we don't have many of these. Let's see what we get when we go for another zombie. There we go. All right. Again, we don't have blast protection, so let's get out of here. There we go. Skeleton head. Very cool. Go for creeper. There's a creeper. And oh, sorry about the audio. I had the weather turned all the way up so that I could AFK and like hear everything. But everything else is like really weird volumes, so that's why we weren't hearing anything else. Oh, I don't want music. So something like that. And we should have a creeper head now. So that's fantastic. So yeah, everything's working. I will go through the rest. I'm gonna go somewhere. I can't sleep right here because there's mobs right here. But I'm gonna go. Oh, I've got all these guys spawned. I don't want these guys to... So I'll just deal with these stupid phantoms. I'll go through the rest of these creeper heads, these charge creepers. I'm very disappointed that over half of them died, but we can still get a decent amount of heads here. All right, last one. This one's a skeleton. One last charge creeper here. In retrospect, I probably could have jumped down and turned on this water right here to stop them from burning. I can't have the water on when I actually use the trident, as far as I understand it, but I might be able to jump down real quick. I didn't have a lot of time to think about that at the time, but now that I thought about it afterwards, like I could put out the fires and hopefully not as many of them die. So I might still do that. Let's light this guy on fire here. So I might still do that. I've still got a whole bunch of name tags. So I'm gonna name tag, I can turn this one off just by making sure there's water over the actual area, and I'll have to let these guys despawn. And then I can name tag a bunch more creepers up. And then if I don't get another thunderstorm in a reasonable amount of time, I'll just call it there. But I might get lucky. I might get a thunderstorm. And if I get a thunderstorm, we might be able to try again. Oh, and by the way, we ended up with 5 of each head, which is pretty decent. That's kind of nice. But for the amount of work that I spent on this, it's a little bit disappointing. I'm not going to lie. So I want to try for more. Oh man, it really hasn't even been that long. That's fantastic. All right, so we got a decent number of these. I don't want to stand up there because I could get struck by lightning. They might see me and blow up. They shouldn't, but I could fall in. So let's, ooh, I'm very nervous again. Let's go ahead and do this. And come on. Why is it not doing it? Why is this? What's going on here? There it goes. And then jump down very quickly. Turn on this water. Put them out. Oh, that worked. Okay, that is a lot of charge creepers now. Ooh. All right, let's make some more heads. All right, so that was pretty successful. We ended up getting 16 of each type of mob head. I know my original goal was to get a stack of each type of mob head, but trying it out, I don't think that's practical. We'd have to do this probably 3 more times. It's just really tedious. There's not really any point to it. So I'm pretty happy to have gotten 16 of each mob head. That's pretty awesome, and we can save these for later. Let me actually take these with me, and I'm probably not going to use this for anything. I'm probably going to save them and put them in the museum. And then what we're going to do instead is, now that I've actually made this farm, we're going to use the Vanilla Tweaks mob head data pack so that when we kill mobs, we can get mob heads. I think that's a lot of fun. I just didn't want to do it because I wanted to have an excuse to actually build a farm like this. If we had been using the data pack all along, there'd be no reason to build a farm like this, even though there is no reason to build a farm like this. I don't recommend anybody actually build this farm. There's no practical reason for this, but it was pretty cool for the content and everything like that. I think it was a pretty awesome farm to build. It's kind of neat. By the way, I should mention that a lot of these ideas behind this, I got from Pixel Riffs, who did this about a year ago. Obviously, if you look at what he did and what I did, we did things that are very, very different, but I did take a lot of the ideas from what he did. And if you do want to build this, I will put a schematic in the description of this monstrosity that I made. This might actually be useful for other things. For one, I'm keeping these charge creepers. We can use them for something else. We might want charge creepers for something else in the future. So we've got a way of making charge creepers. We've got a way of sorting mobs. So I might be able to use this to make a music disc farm at some point in the future. So very, very cool stuff. I'm glad I did this. But now these are just saved for posterity's sake. And then we will start using the Vanilla Tweaks mob head pack, which I think is a lot of fun. So that means we can take this off the list. The first thing to take off the list that we didn't add in that episode. So let's put it over here. And we might as well store these mob heads over here. So that's pretty cool. I'm really happy with that. That was a fun farm. So I am planning on building the iron farm next, but that's going to be a pretty big project. What I'm thinking of doing actually for my next episode is actually doing an episode on our Patreon server and building a tree farm and a store for that tree farm. Let me know if you think about that. Let me know if you're interested in that. I think the iron farm, we want to build a really, really big one. It's going to be a big project and it might even need a perimeter. I want to do a lot of planning for that, and that might take a little extra time. And I think the Patreon server, like setting up a tree farm, will be kind of interesting because it's not like here where we have all the resources already. We've actually got to go out and gather all those resources for that. And I want to build a store for it, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So let me know if you're interested in that. But yeah, the next time we come back to jCraft, we should be working on the iron farm. So that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you again real soon. Bye now. So I've actually got... Are we stuck in here? Looks like, yeah. So this giant monstrosity, it's mostly just a bunch of...